It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. These words strike at the heart of loyalty. Loyalty is not a gift passed freely among friends. It is a chain that binds only when power forges it. History shows how rulers who trusted too easily collapsed under the weight of betrayal. Kings who believed affection would shield them discovered daggers in the hands of men they once called allies. Generals who mistook companionship for discipline watched armies scatter when the first real danger appeared. The battlefield of loyalty has no space for sentiment. You must treat it as a campaign where every alliance is tested by fire, not by words. In the modern world, the same law applies. How many times have you seen colleagues cheer a leader when profits are high, only to vanish when pressure mounts? How often do companies praise loyalty until the balance sheet dips, and suddenly long-time workers are discarded like pawns? Friendship, family, even professional bonds, when resources tighten, masks fall. People follow strength, not promises. If you carry yourself as one who commands, loyalty will gather. If you lean on affection, will be abandoned the moment it costs someone to stand by you. The first enemy is not betrayal itself, but the illusion that loyalty exists without power. This illusion is a trap. You tell yourself that loyalty will appear if you give endlessly, if you trust without limits, if you soften your boundaries, but weakness is not rewarded, it is consumed. Imagine a general who smiles warmly yet commands no discipline. His soldiers may laugh with him, but when arrows rain, they flee. Contrast him with the leader who is steady, consistent, and unshaken in the storm. Fear and respect are not cruelty, they are anchors that hold loyalty in place. Your command is simple: rule your own presence first. Do not confuse friendliness with loyalty. Test the bonds around you. Eliminate the illusion that loyalty is free. Loyalty is earned only through demonstrated strength, through boundaries that hold, through the weight of respect that does not bend when pressed. If you forget this, you will be devoured by those who smile in your company, yet vanish when the battle begins. Hold fast to one truth: loyalty follows power, never weakness. History is filled with rulers who lost their kingdoms, not because of weak armies, but because they lost control of themselves. A general who cannot restrain anger, a ruler who indulges in every temptation, a leader who collapses at the first sign of difficulty, they all invite rebellion. People sense instability and flee from it. By contrast, the leader who stands still in chaos, who keeps his voice calm while others shout, draws loyalty without needing to ask for it. That discipline becomes the crown, the unspoken authority that others recognize instinctively. In modern life, you see this principle unfold daily. In a workplace where tensions rise, everyone watches the one who does not panic. Imagine a meeting where tempers flare. Most voices rise, hands wave, and frustration thickens the air. One person remains composed, listening fully, waiting until the storm passes before speaking. His words carry weight, not because he shouted the loudest, but because he stayed still while others lost control. People remember composure. They rally to it. You cannot expect loyalty in moments of crisis if you shatter under pressure. This is where the projection of sovereignty matters. You may not wear robes of state or sit on a golden throne, but your body language, your tone, and your consistency all build the same effect. The sovereign is not the man who insists he is king. He is the man whose presence makes others feel it before he speaks. Weak: please trust me. Strong: watch my discipline. Weak: I hope you follow me. Strong: this is the path. Walk with me, or stay behind. Language matters because it reflects the throne you either claim or abandon. If you fail to occupy your own throne, it will not remain empty. Others will seize it. often without hesitation. A rival at work, a louder friend in a group. Even your own weaker impulses will sit there if you do not. Power does not tolerate vacancy. The throne within you must be filled daily by conscious command. Sit on it with posture, with control, with disciplined thought. Do not allow hesitation, panic, or indulgence to dethrone you. Rule yourself first, and loyalty will follow. Remember this law. The throne belongs only to the one who masters himself. The first battle of loyalty is fought before the world even sees you. Dawn is not a peaceful hour. It is the drumbeat that signals whether you will command or submit. Armies throughout history understood this. At first light, soldiers were rallied, weapons checked, banners raised, and discipline tested. A general who appeared strong at dawn gave confidence to his men. They knew he was present, awake, and prepared to lead them into danger. If he hesitated, fear spread quickly. The day's battles were often decided before the first strike, simply by the order and resolve shown at sunrise. Your own life mirrors this pattern. The moment you wake, you are a general inspecting your troops. Those troops are your thoughts, your body, and your habits. If you allow them to wander, they become unruly and weak. If you call them to order, they stand ready. The leaders who win loyalty are those who demonstrate consistency every morning. Colleagues and family alike notice who arrives ready, who keeps promises, who shows up without excuses. The one who repeatedly begins the day with clarity and structure gains respect. Loyalty is not given to the man who rolls out of bed in chaos. It is given to the man who shows mastery before the first hour ends. Consider how people trust routines they can depend on. In a workplace, when pressure builds, the team looks toward whoever maintains steady rituals. The one who begins each day organized commands confidence. The one who drifts in late, disheveled, and distracted signals unreliability. Weak. I'll get to it when I can. Strong. It will be done by first light. The difference is not in words alone, but in action reinforced every single dawn. Rituals are banners. They show others where to stand. If you surrender the morning, you surrender momentum. The bed that feels warm is not comfort. It is an enemy whispering delay. 5 minutes easily becomes an hour, and the tone of defeat carries into every later battle. Hesitation at dawn multiplies across the day. Command yourself at sunrise. Treat the morning as a battlefield where discipline must prevail. Rise when you said you would rise. Set your rituals and keep them. Do not negotiate with hesitation. When you seize the dawn, you seize the respect that grows into loyalty. Hold this law as armor. Win the morning, and you win their trust. The rarest weapon in a leader's arsenal is stillness. In chaos, most men flinch, speak too soon, or reveal their fear. The one who does not move, who does not break, becomes the axis around which others align. History shows this truth repeatedly. Julius Caesar was known for his composure under fire. Accounts often describe him standing calmly while others panicked, giving orders with clarity when armies wavered. Marcus Aurelius, faced with plague and invasion, did not match the hysteria of the crowd, but remained steady, writing to himself that control of the mind is the only true fortress. This calm presence inspired loyalty more than speeches ever could. Soldiers, citizens, and allies trusted not because of promises, but because they saw the anchor of a man who did not yield. Today, the battle looks different, but the principle is unchanged. In boardrooms and negotiations, the loudest voice often seeks to dominate, yet the one who stays calm under pressure commands true authority. Imagine a heated meeting where accusations fly. Most participants argue louder and louder, but one person listens in silence, waits for the storm to fade, and then delivers a measured response. The room shifts toward him. Loyalty begins to form, not from charm or noise, but from visible control. People trust the figure who does not shatter under fire. When you remain composed in crisis, others instinctively follow, sensing protection in your restraint. This is the predator's stillness. The wolf in the forest does not need to move quickly to command fear. Prey trembles not because of noise, but because of the silence, the immovable gaze, the patience that signals lethal timing. You must learn this posture in your own battles. Weak, I need to prove I am strong. Strong, I will show strength by not breaking. Weak, I must respond now. Strong, I will respond when it matters. This is the same difference between prey that fails and predator that waits. There will be moments when someone challenges your authority directly. If you react in anger, you lose the field. If you withdraw into silence and poise, and then answer with clarity, you demonstrate superiority without shouting. The opponent loses ground, and bystanders shift their loyalty to you. Stillness in conflict signals mastery. Train yourself to wield silence as a weapon. Breathe slowly when fire surrounds you. Delay words until they strike with precision. Do not reveal panic, even when you feel it. In stillness, you are no longer a participant in chaos. You are the throne upon which others depend. Remember this command: stillness is power, and power earns loyalty. Machiavelli warned that a ruler must keep flatterers close only so he can identify them and then cut them when necessary. The lesson is clear. Loyalty is strengthened not by surrounding yourself with every voice, but by eliminating the ones that weaken the structure. In modern life, the same rule applies. Loyalty decays in an environment where toxic ties are allowed to linger. At work, the colleague who constantly undermines you, wrapped in charm, is more dangerous than an open enemy. In relationships, the person who repeatedly tests your boundaries is showing you what they value, and it is not loyalty. If you ignore these signs, you invite betrayal. If you cut them cleanly, you make space for loyalty to deepen among those who remain. Weak, I can't say no. Strong, this boundary holds. Weak, maybe I'll tolerate it again. Strong, it ends here. People respect the one who draws hard lines. They may complain at the moment, but they align their trust with the leader who enforces standards. Picture a garden. If diseased branches are not cut, the infection spreads until the tree itself withers. In the same way, disloyalty tolerated in one corner will eventually rot the whole. A single unchecked betrayal encourages others to test you. When you prune ruthlessly, you signal strength. The tree does not weaken with the cut, it flourishes. Your circle of loyalty must be tended with the same resolve. This does not mean reacting with rage. A commander who lashes out recklessly loses respect. The key is calm elimination. When someone crosses the line, remove them without shouting, without spectacle, and without apology. Once, in a team discussion, a man challenged me harshly in front of others. Instead of snapping, I acknowledged his words, clarified the standard, and ended the exchange decisively. Later, he understood the boundary, and the group understood the discipline. No need for noise. Precision beats fury. You cannot build loyalty on weak foundations. Every alliance must be tested, and those who fail must be removed. Do not allow sentiment to blind you. Cut quickly, cleanly, and move forward. The throne survives not because it spares weakness, but because it eliminates it. Hold this truth. Loyalty grows when weakness is cut away. The mask of command has always been the difference between order and collapse. People do not follow a man's private feelings, they follow the image he projects. History is filled with rulers who understood that authority is not only held, but shown. Kings wore crowns, not for comfort, but to signal power that demanded recognition. Generals dressed in armor, polished to gleam, not simply for protection, but to inspire soldiers before battle. Rituals of posture, dress, and ceremony were deliberate weapons. They created distance between the sovereign and the ordinary man. That distance was necessary. It forged loyalty by convincing followers they were serving something larger than themselves. The same principle applies today. Presence is performance, and performance commands allegiance. In business, the executive who walks into a room with clarity of voice and disciplined posture carries weight before a word is spoken. In politics, the leader who understands stagecraft, tone, and timing gathers loyalty through deliberate image. Even in personal life, charisma is often a mask, crafted carefully, not an accident of mood. People feel safer aligning with someone who looks like they know where they are going. Authority leaks through every detail: how you stand, how you dress, how you pause before speaking. Weak: I just want to be myself. Strong: I will present my best self as a leader. The first invites dismissal, the second commands respect. Consider the opposite. Imagine a general arriving on the battlefield in rags, unshaven, shoulders slouched. Even if his strategy is sound, the soldiers doubt him. His appearance speaks louder than his orders. Confidence collapses, and with it, loyalty. The mask of command is not deception. It is duty. It communicates readiness when uncertainty could otherwise erode trust. Those who reject the mask in the name of being authentic often confuse honesty with exposure. You can be honest in your decisions while still wearing the armor that signals control. Once in a meeting, a colleague argued that authority should come from personality alone. I stayed silent until he finished, then reminded the group that even history's greatest leaders crafted deliberate images. They did not rely on chance. They wore the crown, the robe, the insignia. The debate ended without escalation, and the point was made. Authority cannot be naked. It must be dressed in ritual. The throne is not lost first to enemies outside. It is lost to hesitation within. Princes who survived understood this. They did not allow weakness to linger. They cut away hesitation with ruthless clarity. History shows rulers who hesitated at the moment of decision often lost everything. Those who acted with sharp resolve, even at risk, preserved their crown. Machiavelli observed that fortune favors the bold, not the cautious. The assassin that matters most is not sent by rivals, but must be carried inside, ready to strike down indecision before it poisons command. In your life, hesitation is betrayal. You may not sit on a literal throne, but loyalty in all forms, at work, in friendships, in leadership, collapses when people sense that you cannot act. Procrastination is hesitation dressed as patience. Self-doubt is hesitation disguised as humility. Tolerating disrespect is hesitation parading as kindness. These are silent enemies, and they erode loyalty before a single confrontation begins. Weak: maybe later. Strong: I will do it now. Weak: it's not a big deal. Strong: this crosses the line. The difference determines whether others see you as someone to follow or someone to ignore. The inner assassin must be trained. Picture a blade within you, silent and precise. Its task is not cruelty toward others, but execution of your weaker impulses. When excuses rise, the blade cuts them down. When fear whispers, the blade silences it. If you do not kill hesitation, hesitation will kill respect. People rally to those who act decisively. They drift from those who constantly delay. You must carry the same discipline into every arena. Assassinate procrastination the moment it appears. End self-doubt before it speaks. Cut tolerance of disrespect as soon as it shows. Do not wait for others to expose your weakness. They will exploit it if you leave it alive. Loyalty follows strength, never weakness. History remembers the conquerors, not because they asked for devotion, but because they fed themselves and their people with resources, victories, and order. Alexander the Great carried loyalty across continents because his soldiers knew he could secure spoils and safety. Julius Caesar commanded Rome not just with charm, but with land, wealth, and structure that proved he could provide. The wolf, who feeds himself, becomes the leader of the pack. The starving dog who begs at the gate earns no loyalty and is soon abandoned. The modern world mirrors this law. People gather around the provider of value. In business, loyalty forms around the leader who creates opportunity, secures direction, and delivers results. In friendships, people trust the one who is steady, who can handle his own responsibilities without leaning endlessly on others. The man who cannot feed himself with discipline, resources, and clarity cannot expect others to follow him. Weak, I need support before I move. Strong, I will move and support will follow. Loyalty grows where strength is visible. You must be ruthless about how you feed yourself. This does not mean greed or endless consumption. It means refusing to starve your own strength. Feed your body with discipline, your mind with study, and your actions with consistency. If you show that you are nourished in all these ways, others sense stability and align with you. If you starve in habits, in vision, or in resolve, no one will entrust their loyalty to you. People naturally attach to the wolf who hunts, not the dog who waits. Inside you live two wolves. One feeds on discipline, courage, and decisive action. The other feeds on excuses, doubt, and delay. The wolf you nourish grows, and the wolf you starve fades. If you feed weakness, loyalty starves as well, because people will not follow hesitation. If you feed strength, loyalty multiplies, because people will feel safer at your side than anywhere else. I once sat in a discussion where a colleague argued that loyalty should come from compassion alone. I stayed quiet, then answered calmly, "Compassion without strength collapses when tested. A hungry leader cannot feed his pack." The room shifted, and respect settled on the principle that compassion must stand on strength. Without strength, compassion is empty. Your command is clear. Feed the wolf of strength every day. Do not beg for loyalty. Prove that you deserve it by showing you can sustain yourself and those who stand with you. Remember this law. Loyalty follows the wolf who feeds himself. Loyalty is not sentiment, it is strategy. Think of it as a chessboard, where every piece has its role, every move has consequences, and every alliance is tested by position, not by promises. On the board of life, loyalty is not a gift, but a calculation. You must learn to see the players around you as pieces, some powerful, some fragile, all capable of shifting allegiance when the board changes. History is full of examples where alliances shifted, like pawns and rooks, depending on advantage. In royal courts, loyalty was rarely permanent. Nobles pledged allegiance to kings so long as the crown appeared strong, but when weakness emerged, they moved their pieces to protect their own interests. Wars were often decided not by the strength of armies, but by the loyalty of allies who stayed or defected when the stakes grew high. A king who treated loyalty as sentiment soon found himself dethroned. A ruler who treated loyalty as a strategic piece survived longer, even if the cost was a cold calculation. The same truth applies today. Friendships, business alliances, and political ties are all built on moves and countermoves. People are loyal so long as the relationship creates value. If you consistently move with clarity, others align with you because your path benefits them. If you hesitate or play without strategy, they drift towards someone stronger. Weak, I thought we were friends. Strong, our bond is built on value and respect. Weak, they'll never leave. Strong, they'll stay so long as I remain strong. This framing is not cynical, it is realistic. Understanding the board allows you to protect yourself and move with foresight. Consider a workplace where teams compete for resources. If you assume loyalty is permanent, you expose yourself. But if you see alliances as positions on a chessboard, you anticipate shifts. A colleague may back you today because it benefits them, but tomorrow they may move against you if the board changes. By anticipating these moves, you can reinforce your position, protect your king, and avoid being cornered. Loyalty, then, is not passive, it is defended like territory. Now reflect on the difference between pawn loyalty and king's loyalty. Pawns are loyal because they have little choice. They are expendable and often sacrificed without notice. Their loyalty is shallow because it carries no weight. But when you command the king's loyalty, the loyalty of those who protect the crown, you hold something stronger. This loyalty is forged by respect, by visible authority, and by the recognition that your survival protects everyone else. Imagine a general stepping onto the battlefield in command. His soldiers know their lives depend on his clarity, so their loyalty is fierce. Imagine instead a leader who exposes weakness. The pawns scatter, the rooks retreat, and the king falls. You must decide what kind of loyalty you cultivate. Do not settle for pawn loyalty, the kind that vanishes the moment sacrifice is required. Demand king's loyalty, which rests on respect and fear of losing the crown. Build this by making decisive moves, by showing you can protect your position, and by proving that those who align with you stand safer than those who stand against you. Once, in a heated debate, someone insisted that loyalty should come purely from emotion. I let them finish, then answered calmly, "Emotion fades when the board changes, but strategy endures." The group shifted because the truth was undeniable. Loyalty without structure is easily broken. Play the chessboard of life with clarity. See loyalty as a piece to be protected and tested, not a gift to be assumed. Make every move with foresight, defend your position, and demand loyalty that protects the crown. Hold this command: loyalty is strategy, and strategy preserves the throne. Loyalty flows to the one who proves himself consistent every single day. A man may speak well, he may charm, he may inspire briefly, but without rituals that harden his will, he is a reed that bends in the storm. History shows that the elites who commanded enduring loyalty lived by disciplined routines. Spartans trained from youth in rituals of endurance that made them unbreakable in war. Samurai bound themselves to codes of conduct, daily practice, and relentless attention to detail. Their loyalty to their lords was forged not in words, but in the fire of repeated action. The soldier who watched his commander uphold the same rituals each morning trusted him with his life. Consistency was the signal that the leader could be followed into battle without fear. Modern life is no different. People gravitate to those who carry themselves with habits that radiate control. Fitness is one example. A body maintained by discipline speaks silently of order. Controlled routines, whether in work or in finances, project stability. A leader who keeps promises to himself, waking at the hour he set, honoring the budget he created, finishing the task he began, earns confidence from others. Weak: I'll try when I feel like it. Strong: I do it whether I feel like it or not. That distinction is what makes people trust that you can handle greater burdens. Consistency is the currency of loyalty. Rituals are not prison bars. They are the hammer and anvil on which your will is forged. Picture the blacksmith's fire. Each strike of the hammer seems small, but together they shape metal into a weapon. Your rituals are those strikes. Rise early. Train your body. Protect your finances. Guard your focus. These repeated acts heat and mold your will. People notice, even if they do not comment. They sense the weight of your discipline, and their loyalty attaches to it. Once, in a team project, someone complained about rigid schedules, saying creativity should be free of structure. I listened, then replied calmly that freedom without form collapses, just as steel without forging remains brittle. Ideas without discipline fall apart. The group adjusted, and over time respected that my rituals kept progress moving. Loyalty strengthened not because of charisma, but because of visible, unshakable consistency. You must treat your rituals as weapons of sovereignty. Do not dismiss them as small. Every act of discipline is a strike that sharpens your command. If you fail in rituals, loyalty dissolves because no one entrusts their future to a leader who cannot master his own day. Forge yourself daily in fire. Show the world your will does not bend. Remember this law: consistency is iron, and iron earns loyalty. The highest form of loyalty is reserved for those who become untouchable. History reveals that rulers who built an aura of invincibility were rarely betrayed. Alexander projected himself as favored by the gods, and his men followed him into impossible campaigns. Roman generals who cultivated myths of destiny bound their soldiers through fear and reverence. Even when doubt lingered, the image of being beyond reach silenced rebellion. Machiavelli observed that men are quicker to betray when they sense weakness, but they hesitate when fear and respect cloak the sovereign like armor. Untouchability is not magic. It is crafted through discipline and presence until betrayal feels unthinkable. Modern life proves the same pattern. People rarely betray the figure whose authority is overwhelming. In business, the leader who radiates composure, delivers results, and maintains strict boundaries commands loyalty because others calculate the cost of defiance and find it too high. In personal relationships, respect deepens around the one who consistently acts with strength. Weak: I hope they won't cross me. Strong: I make crossing me too costly. Loyalty is preserved not by pleading for it, but by projecting an image so stable, so disciplined, and so controlled that betrayal seems foolish. Presence itself becomes a fortress. Picture this fortress clearly. Its walls are your discipline. Its gates are your boundaries. Its watchtowers are your awareness. A fortress that cannot be stormed attracts people who want safety inside its walls. The undisciplined man, by contrast, is like an open village, easy to raid, easy to abandon. Loyalty gathers at the gates of strength, not at the doors of weakness. If you prove you cannot be shaken, people will see more benefit in protecting you than in opposing you. This is not about cruelty. I once faced a colleague who tested limits by undermining me subtly in meetings. Instead of snapping or retreating, I responded with calm firmness, repeating the standard and holding it without anger. Over time, he realized resistance was useless, and others recognized the stability. Loyalty shifted, not because I demanded it, but because I showed I could not be moved. The fortress stood, and people chose its safety. Your task is to become untouchable through unbreakable habits, unshakable presence, and unwavering boundaries. Make yourself the fortress others seek, not the weak ground they abandon. Discipline creates the walls, respect builds the towers, and fear of your strength seals the gates. Loyalty belongs to the untouchable. Remember this command: be the fortress no one dares betray. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. That single line pierces centuries because it speaks to the foundation of loyalty, not the shallow loyalty born of affection, but the enduring loyalty forged in respect, fear, and discipline. Every principle you have walked through, the throne of the mind, the battlefield of mourning, the weapon of stillness, the ruthless elimination, the mask of command, the inner assassin, the wolf that feeds, the chessboard of life, the rituals of iron, the untouchable fortress, now converges. Alone, each piece has power. Combined, they forge the sovereign of ruthless loyalty. This sovereign is not mythical. He is real, and he begins with the choice to rule himself absolutely. Imagine the throne within your mind, claimed daily with discipline. The sovereign rises at dawn, treating the morning as the first battlefield, seizing momentum before weakness awakens. He stands still in storms, a commander whose composure becomes a shield for others. He prunes disloyalty without hesitation, cutting away what threatens the order of his rule. He wears the mask of command, signaling authority before he even speaks. Inside, his inner assassin waits, striking down hesitation before it poisons judgment. He feeds the wolf of strength, providing for himself and others, so loyalty flows to him naturally. He sees life as a chessboard, anticipating moves, securing positions, never mistaking sentiment for strategy. His iron will rituals forge consistency until his presence itself becomes untouchable. This convergence transforms him from an ordinary man into something greater. Loyalty cannot be begged from this figure. It cannot be purchased or manipulated. It is earned because others sense they are safer with him than without him. They calculate betrayal and find it too costly. They calculate loyalty and find it rewarding. His sovereignty radiates an aura that pulls allegiance the way gravity pulls weight. He is feared not for cruelty but for strength. He is respected not for charm but for unshakable order. He is untouchable not because he hides, but because he has built himself into a fortress that stands firm when others collapse. The cost of refusal is harsh. A man who ignores these laws remains prey on the field. Without the throne of discipline, he is ruled by others. Without the morning battle, he drifts. Without stillness, he panics. Without elimination, his circle rots. Without the mask, he is dismissed. The sovereign of ruthless loyalty is not born. He is forged through decisions, daily and deliberate. You must decide if you will stand on the throne of your own mind, cut hesitation, feed strength, and play the board with foresight. You must decide if you will forge rituals until you become the fortress others seek. No one can grant you this sovereignty. It is seized. Weak, I hope for loyalty. Strong, I will earn loyalty through strength. Weak, I want to be accepted. Strong, I will be respected. The sovereign does not hope, he commands. Every part of this path leads to one transformation, from man begging for loyalty to sovereign commanding it. When others look at you, they must feel the weight of order, the certainty of resolve, the presence of a figure who will not break. That is when loyalty becomes unshakable, not because you asked for it, but because you embodied the law that demands it. Hold this truth as your final armor. Rule yourself ruthlessly, and loyalty will be yours. Loyalty without power is fragile. It collapses the moment strain appears. History shows how rulers who mistook affection for loyalty were abandoned at the first sign of weakness. Soldiers deserted kings who could no longer command resources. Allies shifted when they sensed advantage elsewhere. Loyalty is never free. It is bound to strength, to fear, to respect, and to the perception that following you is safer than betraying you. If you lack power, loyalty is an illusion that shatters as soon as it is tested. In the modern world, the same truth holds. Companies discard loyal workers when profits demand it. Friends vanish when consistency fails. Relationships dissolve when boundaries are not enforced. People attach themselves to strength, to the leader who radiates order, who keeps promises, who proves he can provide direction when chaos comes. Weak, please stay loyal. strong, loyalty flows to those who prove unshakable. If you wait for loyalty to appear without building power, you will be forgotten. If you forge strength, discipline, and presence, loyalty gathers at your side because others sense safety in your command. Ruthless loyalty is not cruelty. It is clear. It is the decision to eliminate hesitation, to wear the mask of command, to build rituals that forge consistency, to act as a fortress rather than open field. People do not betray those who are untouchable, they betray those who are exposed. When you live with sovereign discipline, respect attaches to you. When you project control, loyalty solidifies. When you wield boundaries without apology, your presence becomes immortal in the memory of those who stood under your authority. This is not about demanding obedience. It is about becoming the kind of figure others do not dare to abandon because they know their survival is tied to your strength. The call is simple. Seize loyalty through power. Rule your mind first. For the throne begins within. Show others you cannot be shaken. Cut weakness without hesitation. Feed the wolf of strength daily. Forge rituals, like iron, until your presence becomes unbreakable. Do not wait for loyalty to arrive as a gift. Command it by embodying the discipline that no one can ignore. Remember this as your final law. Rule your mind. Wield your mask. Strike with ruthlessness. The throne is yours.